You're tuned into Soul Fusion Cafe, your place for radiant wellness and soul forward living. Join your host, Jess Juntunen, quantum healer, intuitive, and midwife to the awakening spirit, as we dive into quantum tools, wisdom teachings, and integrated healing pathways for transformation. You can live a life of freedom to be without limitation. Cozy up, grab your tea, and enjoy this hour of expansion, wisdom, and love. Namaste and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe, your hour of radiant wellness and soul forward living with me, your host, Jess Juntunen. And it really is an honor and pleasure to be here with you today after a few weeks hiatus, some very much needed integration time. Soul Fusion Cafe is back, and we are here to support you as you move forward living your most beautiful, radiant life. So I would love to know if you have interest in having a mini reading, having questions answered about the times that we are in and self ascension. If you have questions about the divine feminine, or you have any other inklings or just things that you want to say and shout out, let me know. I would love to invite you onto the show when we do go live, or else invite you to email your questions, your requests to Jess at selfascensionstudios.com. And it would be my honor. I can answer your questions on the next podcast radio show. And when we go live, there will be some shifts. I've been talking about it for some time, and I know those of you that have been listening know about this. But as the divine feminine has been rising, it's such a part of my own passion that my show is going to take on a more amplified, expanded look at being the divine feminine, being with that energy rising. It's going to be about the goddess within. It's going to be about our connection with the earth, all the beautiful things that we talk about already on Soul Fusion Cafe, but just packaging it a little different. And dun, 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 it's going to go live. We're going to have special guests more often. We're going to have times for, yes, readings and questions and you to call in. So that is in the works. I do not have the date yet, but stay tuned because it's really exciting. You can still find out all the updates and what's happening at my website, selfascensionstudios.com. selfascensionstudios.com. The link is in the description of this episode. If you're over on YouTube, you can also catch all the archives at selfascensionstudios.com and onenesstalkradio.com. And over at Oneness Talk Radio are all the links to my information as well. So, beautiful, exciting times. It's a time of expansion. So, of course, Soul Fusion Cafe is expanding and moving into the next level of its evolution. So, we will be going live on the air. We will be answering questions, talking to guests, and diving into topics around ascension and the divine feminine rising. It's just going to be a brilliant, beautiful shift that I'm very excited about. And I am excited about all of your shifts. I would love to hear what miracles are happening in your life. What is going on? Because it's so important that we celebrate the wins, that we celebrate when the miracles manifest. That energy is very important. I think it's more important than ever right now. So as we dive into today, really, I think this hour is about, yes, our divine feminine nature, the divine feminine energy that is surrounding and lifting our planet right now. And this is about guidance, some reading about this time and sharing wisdom and things that I know about what's happening at this time, both based off of my own intuition and my own channeling, as I am a channel. We all are a channel, but I really learned to hone in and trust my guidance and offer readings in addition to consults and all these other beautiful offerings. But the readings have really been just expanding as well. And I'm really trusting that. And I really always weave my own intuition and guidance with my own mentors and teachers, Sri Ram Ka and Kira Ra. Whether or not you follow them, that is up to you. But if you enjoy anything I am sharing, you would definitely also enjoy Sri and Kira's work because they have been bringing this level of information to the planet for over 18 years, and they are really bringing in pure, profound information. So I can't say enough that their work is also very important if mine resonates with you. I am a yogini of self ascension. I'm an alchemist of self ascension. Self ascension is simply the framework for understanding the journey home. It is not a dogma, it is just a way of being, it is a path. And there are many paths, but what I have found about the path of self ascension is that the seeds of the truths that are in all the religions and lineages around the world are resonant within self ascension. Like you can use this pathway and apply it to any any, I don't want to say belief system, but any spiritual path of your choice. And the beautiful part is there really is just, there's no dogma here. It's just really beautiful, beautiful work of lifting into our highest, truest self. And much of the work and basis of where I work at and the realm I'm in is self ascension as brought in by the ascended masters, by guides, by angels, the archangelic realm, the Elohim, the Essene brethren, the divine directors, so many beings that come in and have come in as very pure guidance over these last decades. So their information is just, it transcends ego, it transcends density. So I just really do feel honestly like this work is the jackpot. I've done a lot of spiritual work over my entire life, been trying to wake up my entire life. But the path of self ascension, the pure path, just without the dogma or anything else, without the ego, it's really offers such an opportunity for awakening. And the path has 4 steps, but they're in no particular order, but they are release judgment, uh, surrender, unconditional love, and to be in union. At any moment, as we walk our path of self ascension, if we are in one of those steps, and we work on it, it affects all the others. Releasing judgment allows us to really surrender. And the surrender is surrendering over to our soul, to the truth of who we are, letting go of the ego, letting go of the parts of us that want to keep us anchored in density, releasing that and allowing our soul to guide us. Um, and to be in union is really about being in union with ourself, with the divine self that we are. Sometimes there's a lot of talk of higher self and lower self. Your higher self is yourself. It is yourself. And then you have these other aspects because we're human and we're in a body. So it's extremely beautiful how this path really does serve um, an unconditional love, the other step, of course, just loving no matter what, forgiveness, which goes back to the release judgment. So the path of self ascension, um, and it also brings us through the energy of peace, love, and joy. Everything, that is of our multidimensional presence is of peace, love, and joy. So today, yeah, there's some discussion on the fifth dimension that I would like to share with you and beyond. What is it to be multidimensional? How do we anchor more fully in the fifth? What is all this about dimensions, if you are wondering what I am talking about, and how that relates to freeing ourselves, to living our dreams, to bringing forward the world that we want to see. And also how the divine feminine wraps into all of this and the energies that are happening and birthing on our planet right now. So, this is an amazing hour. Thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. I feel like I connect with each and every one of you, whether you are catching the show live. Well, it's not live, but its live premiere is on Sunday nights, or its premiere on Oneness Talk Radio at 5 4 p.m. Pacific, at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday evenings. So truly, uh, if you're catching it right at the premiere, thank you. Or if you're catching it as a rebroadcast or on YouTube or wherever you're listening, Oneness Talk Radio is the host, and Oneness Talk Radio has so many amazing shows and music and uplifting support. So really do check out onenesstalkradio.com for uplifting positivity. It is my honor to be with Oneness Talk Radio and all the other amazing hosts and music that's there. So, hello and welcome. I feel like that was a very long introduction to this episode. Very long, but also short. Time is very funny these days, if you haven't noticed, that time is feeling like it's very much speeding up. I mean, it's felt like that since 2000 for sure, but now it's getting really interesting. If you're having senses of deja vu, or you're feeling like sometimes time's very long, sometimes it goes very fast, sometimes you don't know where you were 5 minutes ago, like you feel like you just blip out and come back in, or things seem to appear uh, different from your perception or perspective. It's like you can watch time going by you while you stand in the center. All kinds of different interesting sensations. And that really is because, wow, there's a lot of energy that's on our planet, that's in our solar system, in our galaxy, right now. It's supporting us. Um, but linear time's breaking down. The concept of it, the way it worked before for us, it's breaking down, and we're being asked to really be in the flow. The 2020 is the year of the decade. This is a decade. It's the roaring 20s, right? Roaring 20s is back. But what does it bring with it this time? What does the roaring 20s bring forward now? So the 20s are here, and it's abundant flow that is roaring if you choose to receive the flow. You will receive some flow in some way, shape, or form, and it will be roaring. But what is your choice, really? What do you want to receive from these years? What do you want? Do you want more abundance and miracle manifestation, or do you want more chaos and drama? Neither one is wrong. There is no wrong, and each have their gifts. But when we can consciously choose, I have been there, done that myself with the chaos, the drama. I've done all of that, right? And sometimes it might still try to pull me in because it is sticky. Our planet is full of it right now. So if you're feeling a lot of it, or you've gotten caught up in it, forgive yourself. Forgiveness always, always, always will help us lift. Get grateful for it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's the lifting device. And pop back out and get into the choice of, no, I want the flow of my greatest love, my greatest peace, my greatest joy. You're allowed to feel joy right now. How many people are here that say, I've been feeling so much joy and so much connection, and I feel kind of guilty about it because, the whole world's a mess or whatever, right? People are suffering. I feel guilty. This is so divine feminine coming in for healing. Because, right, the feminine, and the feminine is expressed in women. We all have the divine feminine. and we all have the woman within, no matter what our gender is. And the divine feminine is here, and but women as carriers of the divine feminine and the expression of it in the world, have, because of the imbalance for so long, there's been that tendency to be like to carry so much responsibility for others, to be the ones who are carrying the load of the lineage, of the ancestry, of others, taking on things, thinking that's the way to help. It's just been kind of ingrained in a lot of different ways. So we're being asked to be in our frigging joy. It is time to be in our joy, because that helps the other people. That helps others when we can be in our joy portal. When we step into, wow, this is what fills my heart and my cup, everything in life starts to just bring us even more joy. The experiences, the people, then we're in the flow of joy. Everything can come our way. We can give and receive with the joy of knowing that abundance is our state of being, that we are spiritually abundant and full, and therefore everything else is provided for. And yeah, to get there, if you're not there and you're not feeling joy, but if you are, remember, be it, because that shows others that they can do the same, and it breaks down barriers that keeps others from standing up. It supports our whole planet's shift. Now, if you're feeling like, I don't feel any joy at all, I'm dying, like it feels like I want to give up, I am going through some bullshit, just wow. I know what it's like to be right there. And sometimes we have experienced all the joy and all the things, and we find ourselves back there and we go, oh, God, how did I get here? If we've already been like cultivating some of these things in our life and been on a spiritual journey and path, if this is just the first time you're waking up to your spiritual path and spiritual nature, it can feel really rough when that happens, really tough. I do have a show about the void that is pretty much one of my most popular episodes ever. I should remember which date it is, but if you go to selfascensionstudios.com to the Soul Fusion Cafe archive, you can scroll down and find the Dark Night of the Soul, the void episode, where I share a lot about that. But it is a natural phase of our evolution. And then we even go through it again, right? And sometimes again and again. And if you've already been practicing living in the fifth dimension, then there is a void you have to walk through into the seventh to fully anchor the seventh. That's pretty wild, and a lot of people aren't talking about the seventh or ninth or 33rd dimension or others. Most people are now in the spiritual realm. There's a lot more discussion about the fifth dimension. But I've known about this and been working with this a lot longer than it's been a popular topic. So it's beautiful that it is. It's absolutely great that there's more awareness, but I do feel like there's a lot of information out there that's still anchored in density or the third dimension, because the fifth dimension does take on a lot of qualities of the third. I mean, it's definitely not the third dimension. It's where manifestation and things can happen instantly and compassion and love rule. But it looks a little more familiar to us. When we start shifting into the seventh, things get really strange because it just defies the mind. The mind seems to be able to wrap itself around the fifth a bit. But some of the information out there then is a little more based in that perspective of the density perception of the fifth. And that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just sharing that this is something I've been doing a long time. And now at this time on the planet, it's becoming much richer, my connection. I'm not saying I know everything, not at all. Far, far from it. But my connection has been blowing up right now, like just the expansion, explosion. So talk about roaring 20s. I have been at the bottom of not knowing if I wanted to go on another day, wondering if I would ever feel joy. I mean, would I just feel like okay and not like wanting to just curl up in a cocoon and never get up again? Um, So I've been there too. And I can say that, whew, if you're listening to this, you have what it takes. You really do. You have what you need to support yourself going forward. You really, truly do have guides and support around you. You are not alone. You are never alone. You are with yourself. Your higher self is there holding you. The divine is holding you. Angels, masters holding you. And you truly can walk through this. Or I know you wouldn't be listening to this right now. Bringing our hand to heart and breathing is always going to activate our connection to our multidimensional presence. So why do we want to think about our fifth dimensional self and multidimensional presence, and well, there's dimensions beyond the fifth? Um, it's really important because it helps us get out of the habits of having a body and emotions, and reminds us of who we really are. And then we can bring that into our body and allow that to support our body and support our choices and decisions and help us bring healing to our emotions and our physical form. It accelerates everything because we are bringing in these energies in our consciousness and love, pure love frequency into our being right here and right now. I mean, it's it's like I have done drugs. I will raise my hand. I have, but living in multidimensional presence is so much better than that. It's like your life becomes a beautiful, beautiful thing, without all the side effects that come along. It's just all pure beauty. And really, the divine feminine coming in here, Mercury just went direct. She just turned around and she is carrying a feminine energy. She has been birthing this, and we have been birthing. Our planet has been birthing. We are going through a time of great, great up level. Everything is expanding. So, of course, we look in the world and we see, oh my gosh, what is happening to the people and the planet? And we cry out and it hurts. Um, because those of us that are sensitive, it's hard to see all that's going on in the world, but that energy is expanding. Density is expanding. What is density? Density is energy that's moving very slowly. Our body is energy, right? But it's so densely packed, and all the components, that we take on a form in this world, that we are like three-dimensional, right? And our thoughts and our emotions are also pretty slow moving as far as energy goes, and they're very tied to our body. So all these things live in the density realm, and what thrives in the density realm is drama. What thrives in the density realm is drama. And drama is anything that, if you don't feel peace, love, or joy, there's some kind of part of the drama that's got you stuck. And density is like Velcro or sticky goo. It will suck us right in. You can be pretty spiritually evolved, feeling like you're going along, and all of a sudden it's like you got hit over the head, triggered, and density comes roaring in through the opening, right? And we're stuck and sticky and got to do some work to get out when we decide we want to get out, and laugh at it. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. Uh, but it's funny, density is very magnetic, and there's an addiction to it. We are compelled to watch the drama, to be involved, whatever thread or thing that we hold on to. And here's the thing is that there's what about the fourth dimension? The fourth dimension is collapsed around the third dimension. The fourth dimension is collapsed around it. Like, I don't know, back in the 2000s that happened. And when that happened, it's like really tightly compacted. And the fourth dimension is full of disincarnate beings, energies, beings that passed on but didn't like had unfinished business, didn't want to leave, didn't want to go back to the light. It's a repository of all kinds of sticky energies. So those love to mess around in the density realm, and now that they're stuck together, you can be very open to getting influenced by them. It's nothing to be afraid of. You are a powerful being of light. You can send them back to light and source. You can release them. You are very powerful that way. So no need to be afraid. Take a breath. But you can also keep them from attaching to you in the first place by doing your work to stay anchored in the fifth dimension. Another reason that is wonderful in the fifth dimension, because you won't be touched by all the drama and chaos in the third dimension so much. It won't be so hard to live life, and you won't be as triggered or as reactive. It doesn't, and it means complete compassion. It doesn't mean we don't care and we're detached, but it's total compassion for everything happening in this world and on this planet. And the divine feminine bringing in this energy right now that's rising on the planet, saying compassion, but I will not, carry your burdens anymore. Our beautiful planet Gaia is saying, I can't even take any more of your energies. Don't send cords into the earth, please. If you do practice that, consider that she's so full right now, and it's like she's regurgitating, and you may get that regurgitated back at you. And very well intended. I've done the same, but and it's taught in so many places. So I'm not saying it's wrong or bad, but she can't take it anymore. Our mother needs us to walk with her, to walk softly upon her, to work with her, but to not send our energy down into her, not send cords into her. And that's like the divine mother right now, right? That's saying, okay, children, okay, my children. It's the mother that's kind of like had it but loves us so much, but she's going to be firm. She's going to say, okay, we need to come into balance. There needs to be harmony in this household. And we're here to facilitate that with our planet, with everybody. And the divine feminine has this beautiful compassion, but she doesn't take crap. She's very much, think of Durga and the power, just the moving forward, like the empowered being, the lioness energy that's here birthing right now. And so much is being created, the womb of the mother where creation happens. That's where we are. We've been in this womb of the mother, in this beautiful, nurturing, nourishing space that's giving us everything that we have needed for the journey. And we are birthing into our true nature right now, if we choose it. And there are very much a twinning earth energy happening here. The earth is twinning there, and it has been for some time, but like since about 2015, the portal and gateway opened, and I was there supporting this opening, and there's like these two escalators going, and are you on the one to the third dimension, or are you on the one to the fifth? So it's very interesting to float above and witness this, that there's two earths happening here in two different timelines, and we can pull in the highest aspects of our timelines into here and now and support all. But are we in our fifth dimension, or are we down in the third? And you can't straddle both forever. You've got to pick one or the other, because it's extremely uncomfortable sitting on top of a fence post. Hello, right? Who wants to do that? Like, that gets very uncomfortable very quickly. You've got to jump to one side or the other. Uh, and there's no wrong. And you can always choose to lift again. Believe me, I was, okay, I'll tell a short story. I get sidetracked sometimes, but I was born with full remembrance of my mastery in many, many ways. Even when I was nonverbal, I had tangible connections that I can recall. And as a young child, but I was born into a family and a paradigm that was so unconscious for my own soul's journey and gifts. I shut down a lot. It was a very um, it was dangerous. It felt very dangerous to show my gifts and be who I was. And I learned to doubt myself. And that's the thing. Doubt is where interference enters. Doubt is where we forget the truth of who we are, right? So I forgot then. We all forget when we're born, and we all pretty much forget in childhood if we did remember when we were born. A few ascended masters remember, and probably more of the children being born right now will have retained memory. But most of us had to forget, right? um and that's part of the gift here. And because it's so dense, you can't carry everything in with you. It's just the way it goes. So as we're born, that was my experience, was like I had all this remembrance. So when I woke up again, I talk about when we wake up in this lifetime, I feel like I was always awakening. I was always looking or searching for the divine, but I had not a lot of resources or people around me to guide me in that. But I was always making interesting choices, looking for that. And, in my 20s, I had a really huge awakening with um, myself and my connection to spirit. And then I kind of like made a lot of decisions that I went to density. I was definitely not at the point where I was totally out yet. And then in my 30s, really had a huge awakening. Actually, the end of my 20s, the hugest awakening. And then it was like kind of just then went along in that space, but still a lot of density, energy present, too, at the same time. And then I really expanded in my 30s. And I just turned 40 this year or last year. I'm turning 41 this year. Wow, amazing. So, that was profound. And when that happened in my 30s, it was amazing. That's when Self Ascension opened up. And I really came home to myself and really empowered myself as the master that I am. And then, yet, still, there were times where I made some decisions. I still kept with my divine as much as I could, but I still had to learn some lessons. I really like to learn those lessons in the past. I really wanted the full experience of being human and being a woman and doing everything in my way. But now it's so much nicer to hand it over and be in my divine self more often. It's a beautiful thing. Maybe part of it takes a while in our world to gain the experiences and things to really feel settled in, and I feel like 40s is the beginning of that, settling into my spiritual nature and just being way more in tune. But there's so many, age is just also another weird funny thing. So I mean, it's that you could be this feeling like this at 20, you could be feeling like this at 80. There's no right or wrong. But just to share that density is strong. That's how I got sidetracked. The density is strong. It will try to stick you up. It will grab at you, and it's very compelling, and we all have our Achilles heels, our weak spots, um, our trigger points, and those are just areas where we have wounds, where we have unfinished healing. And we call in experiences and relationships and situations that meet us at the level we're at to stimulate healing. That's how wise and beautiful our soul is. But we do discover, maybe we don't have to do it the hard way or learn so hard. So that's been my journey. Like, yeah, I think I had to do it that way. So I know I had to do it that way for a lot of reasons. And one of them is that I understand. I understand. I have I have been at the depths. I have been through a lot of shit so that I can understand and help, and to be able to have complete mercy and forgiveness and compassion no matter what happened. It's not like I'm just telling people to do that. Like, I know because I've had to walk that and I continue to have to walk that. Because there's always more layers. That's the thing on the spiritual evolution. Sometimes we feel like we're going to arrive at some point, We'll be like, ah, nothing will touch us, but we're here, we're human. And as long as we're here, there's always more layers and always more learning. There's our own stuff, there's our past lives. And that's ripe right now, too. Past lives coming full circle, calling back all the refractions of our past lives, and really anchoring now, moving forward in a new cycle, not having to repeat the old. We've even gotten into a habit of that on planet Earth, is repeating lives. Like it's almost got compulsive like we could do it in my lifetime. Like I'm saying, like I repeated some lessons in different ways or had to go back into density while we've done that a whole bunch with lifetimes. So that's another aspect to consider. And our lineage, our biological lineage, we're healing on behalf of our whole lineage when we take on this work. We're saying for all the ancestors and all of those to come after us, we're healing in our lineage. That's huge work because things have been in that lineage for a long time. So to come in and say, I'm going to heal the lineage is very, very huge. And if you're here to awaken consciousness, if you're here because you see a vision of a more beautiful world, you are, I'm sure, a lineage holder. And definitely it can be a weird journey. Most lineage holders have had a lot of bumps and bruises and experiences, came through some circumstances in order to heal some of the difficult circumstances. And it's also our humanity, our lineage of our humanity, not just our ancestry, our whole humanity. So like have mercy on yourself. You are working through a lot at any given time. It's very, very important to remember that. So, fifth dimension is here. The fifth dimension, that is where we can connect, like I've been saying, to the truth of who we are and our ability to manifest and be in total love, total unconditional love and compassion exists. And the energies right now are very much supporting that lift. There's also kind of like a mirror that's existent between the fourth and fifth dimension now. Um, so there's a lot of beings kind of bouncing off the fifth in a way, reaching up for it. But if there's a lot of ego and density involved, there may be an intensity in that happening. So that's something you can breathe with. um, I feel like breath holding, don't hold your breath, breathe. All of this is perfect. So July is carrying this energy, right, of the roaring flow. Are we in the flow, the fifth dimension or not? And that's the energy of like the 20s, right? And we're in July of 2020. And, honestly, the 33rd dimension is here to support us in July, purely coming in, and we can learn to access that and channel that. And it's really about rebirthing. It's about birth. We are birthing. We've been in this womb and we're ready to come out. What are we creating? What's been being created in the womb of creation? How do we really bring our dream forward? What are your dreams? What are your dreams? Maybe things that you put on the shelf a long time ago and didn't do because you thought you shouldn't, couldn't, whatever the story was. Is it time to birth your dream? Maybe a new dream is forming that you feel like you've known but are just becoming aware of. How profound. And what is your vision, your dream of the planet? Your own life. Yes. Focus on your own life, of course. And what is it for the planet? Because as you focus on you, your joy, what are you birthing? You support the whole planet. And as we do this, we are co-creating. Each of us is co-creating this experience right now. So if you're looking at the world and you're getting sucked into the density drama, it is all an illusion. It's all drama. And believe me, I have my certain areas that want to suck me in, and it's fascinating to know. But then the fourth D attaches on. Sometimes, you start doubting yourself, and then you have a big mess to untangle. And it's okay, but I just like to have less messes now, and you might like to have less messes too. Um, so you can free yourself. You can free yourself right now of all past lives, all your past lives during this lifetime. It can feel like we have a lot of past lives during our one lifetime right now, and literal past lifetimes. If we can really be free from that as we birth and co-create this new world. Isn't that freeing? The energy is supporting us to do that. Um, and it really comes from our sincerity. We have to just have sincerity. What's our intention? Is it sincere? Is it of the heart? Can we be sincere in our intention? Can we be sincere in our practice? Can we be sincere in our dedication? Then comes the recognition, the true recognition, and our sincerity is even more boundless than we knew possible. The love is so complete and whole. The opposite of all that is frustration, and that just takes us down into density. Contraction, that is contraction. So when we see the world and we're frustrated by the world and the way it looks, then we're down in density. That's where we are. If we're going to lift, then we just need to bring forward sincere intention to lift. And the framework for this time to navigate is to have focused awareness, steadfast commitment, complete trust. Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust as we walk forward. It takes steadfast commitment to keep saying yes. We say yes once, we got to keep saying yes. We have to keep saying yes and have that dedication to the yes. Practice, recognize, be aware when you're in what you're saying yes to, and when you're in your flow of your joy or when you're in the flow of the frustration. And when you catch yourself in the flow of the frustration, say, oh, good, I caught myself, and laugh and shift. I swear to God, it might sound insane, but if you do that, you will disconnect and detach really quickly. And saying thank you. Our ego, it wants to keep us safe. It just has a really weird idea about how to keep us safe. It says to play small. It says to contract. That will keep you from dying, right? It will protect your physical body. It will protect your emotions and mental body if you've been hurt. It's just saying you could be hurt again. We don't want to get hurt, so let's stay right here. And whatever it takes to do that, it will tell you anything in the book. We can be really wrestling in our own inner world right now with our ego at times, or with triggers, and it can become a battle, and frustration will separate us. It separates us from our truth and makes it harder to see and remember. But the moment we remember, that's a celebration. That's a celebration. You've released Velcro and you've released more of the grip of density. Every time you do it, it's just like you're more free. Well, there goes another little whatever. It's just like washing off the crumbs, wiping them off your lap. It's all good. Um, so lots of forgiveness this month. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Compassion. And the fifth dimension is all about compassion. If you really can witness your life, like imagining you're at a really high altitude up on the top of a mountain or on a cloud, and then lift even higher, connecting to your heart and breathing, and gaze down at your beautiful body of form. Gaze around the beautiful planet and just feel the compassion and love you have for yourself and your life. You've been doing the best you could given your tools and resources and circumstances at the time in any given moment. No matter how awake you think you are, if you bumped your head and forgot everything and got reactive and stuff happened, forgive yourself, mercy, and lift again. The ego will come in once we are more spiritually evolved, or we have more language now, the ego will come in and use that against us, and it will say, oh, you're not so spiritual after all. Oh, you've been doing this work so long. Look at you, you're still a hot mess. Whatever your flavor of messages are, you're dumb, you're not good enough. Whatever it likes to tell you, it's going to use spiritual language even to start pulling you down. So pay attention. And victim energy is super, super big in July. Victim energy. And that's part of the whole drama that we were talking about earlier, right? There cannot be drama without a victim, without an abuser, and without a rescuer. And this is the victim triangle. I know Shri and Kira have been teaching it, but it's been around a long time. It's a familiar model in psychology and such. Um, but it's important. It's a triangle, and it's the wheel. It spins around and around this triangle like a wheel. A sick game that we play, um, where someone gets to be the victim, and the victim has to have a bad guy, an abuser, and also is looking for the rescuer to come save them. And sometimes the victim will make the rescuer into the abuser, and flip the tables. Sometimes an abuser will become the victim in order to keep their abuse going. Sometimes the rescuer turns themselves into the abuser after they're sick of rescuing, or becomes the victim, everyone changing roles. And I think really the brass tacks is that we do this in our head. You don't need other people to do it. We do this in our own mind, right? When we're beating ourselves up or having lack of forgiveness, we are being our own abuser. How many of us are our own abuser? I mean, women, I'm talking to you too. Like, I'm talking to everybody. I'm not talking to just women, but think about that. Women, we have carried that so long, like inside of us, to like beat on ourselves, to put ourselves down, to compare ourselves, to be not good enough. And how often, be honest with ourselves if we're playing the victim. I mean, yeah, sometimes people are victims of serious abuse. I have been. It's not saying, oh, I can just choose my way out of that necessarily. Depends like on the situation and what's happening and what timeline it is. Um, can be really bad stuff, right? And we can support a victim that's in that position without being the rescuer, but we can support them to empower themselves. That's the thing. That's when the transcendence starts to happen. So, as a rescuer, if we want to save the world, a lot of us look around and see things in the world that are very bad happening. Yeah, there are bad things happening. And we can transcend the rescuer and become the teacher. Then we're modeling to others and teaching them how to be in their power and lift out of their victim role. And we can support them. That's totally different than going in and rescuing somebody. So we can support the planet. We can support others by being the model of being the truth of who we are and teaching it by our way of being. We don't have to preach or get on a soapbox. You don't have to be a literal teacher. It's by being who you are. And an abuser, and we all are all these things. We are the victim, rescuer, abuser. Everybody is this thing, and everyone plays this role, and it plays out on density perfectly. So the abuser is another corner of that triangle, and the abuser becomes the mentor when we ascend, when we are anchored in our fifth dimension. That's where it all really begins. And that's when we become the mentor, able to show others, mentor others, be the mentor for ourselves, the guide. And the victim transcends into the healer, to be able to heal, healer, teacher, mentor. Healer, teacher, mentor is what it becomes. So support yourself to lift out of this instead of being really good at playing the game of density, you get to just lift above it. So when you catch yourself in it, lift above it. How do we do that? The root center of our being that connects us to our ascended presence, to our fifth dimension and beyond, is our heart. The foundational chakras of the body of form in this planet, the root, sacral, and solar, are very important, but they are of density. We want them to be balanced and in harmony. That helps us support the lift of our heart. And when we anchor in our heart, then we open up to our ascended state of being. We open up 12 pointed chakra system known as the Divine Galactic Blueprint. And it's also got other names and other traditions. And it's the heart. And it opens up, and all of these other chakras open. The crown becomes the exploded crown, opening wide. And we're able to receive divine guidance. We're able to receive infusion of energy and gifts. We're able to live our life from the vision of what we see as possible. We're able to embody what's possible. We're able to show others. We're able to lead. We're able to teach. And we really bring forward the new world that's seeking to birth. This is a fabulous, fantastic, amazing time. You are birthing. What are you birthing? Take some time to be with this. I really invite you to take some time to be with the energy of your dreams and what's birthing. I would suggest writing on it. I would suggest meditating. I would suggest just maybe getting out paints and painting and having fun. Just be creative. Sloppy or messy. There's not, just breaking the habit of being orientated towards density and getting stuck in thinking about what we don't like in the world. So easy to look at the world and see what we don't like. So it's training ourselves to focus on the joy that's available at all times. It's very much we're training ourselves, the yoga of self ascension, yoga, a discipline, a practice. It's a way to open us up to the truth of who we are. And this divine feminine energy comes in. It's like, yes, we can receive the gifts, we can receive with gratitude, we can nurture and create in our crystalline womb, we can birth the new world through us, through our very presence on this planet. You are a master in form, or you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have said, yes, it's true. It's really absolutely true. And right now, it's so extremely exciting because as I'm looking to birth the next evolution of my radio program, and it becomes about the divine feminine rising and the goddess. And as my work, I've been a birth doula, like a literal birth doula, but I feel like I'm a spiritual birth doula as well. That was my first calling when I became a healer officially, was as a doula. That was my training as a birth doula, and it's the most amazing, profound thing to be at the birth of a baby. And it's so very much the journey we go through in our spiritual birthing process. There are contractions, there's the moment of the baby crowning, the baby comes out, and you're so relieved and amazed, and it's like, wow, it's all so beautiful how it all reflects each other. And we're birthing, and I'm so excited to be birthing more deeply into my service to the divine feminine. I've always served this, but it's just becoming more focused now. And Women Wellness Awakenings is this extremely exciting opportunity that is my next offering of service. I do offer one-on-one sessions and retreats and workshops and things like that. And the next online global event is Women Wellness Awakenings, wwaglobal.com. And check that in the bio. There'll be a link there for it too. And WWA Global is a movement. And in August, on August 8th, the Lion's Gate is here. 8/8 is the Lion's Gate, and the Divine Feminine is roaring with this roaring 20s. And we are coming forward. And this is for all women and the woman within all. It's not just about, I mean, it is about women, but it's about the divine feminine and understanding this aspect of ourselves, whatever gender we are, or orientation we are, or belief system we have. The divine feminine's here to support us. So I am joining together with Sri Ram Ka as a trio of partners, of champions to bring this and birth this on the planet. Sri Ram Ka is a man who carries the most loving, feminine energy. He's so balanced in the masculine and feminine. He's a brilliant medical intuitive. So he's going to be sharing so much about wellness and true wellness. You know, we will talk about physical, emotional, and mental wellness, but like the true abundance of wellness and manifestation, awakenings, manifest. Kira Ra bringing in this beautiful energy of the awakened lioness, you know, and I'm bringing in the divine feminine and women, but we're all weaving together our gifts to bring women wellness awakenings to the world. And it begins 8/8 the Lion's Gate, a 4-week journey. They're still awesome. Discount is affordable and amazing. And it's a tribe and it's a support, it's a circle. So get in on that. Go to wwaglobal.com, or you can see some details at my website, selfascensionstudios.com, and catch up on whatever else I'm doing. If you'd like to check that out, I invite you. I invite your emails, your questions, your comments, things I can read on air. If you'd like to appear on air with me, let me know when I go live. I will be bringing in callers. That would be fantastic to have you. I'm very excited. I will make an announcement. If you want to get on my email list, just shoot me an email at jess@selfascensionstudios.com and say, hey, add me to your email list, and you'll know all my updates of what's going on. And that's important too. So I so invite you from the bottom of my heart to check out wwaglobal.com. At least check it out, spread the word, and share it with the world, because this is a beautiful moment and it's a global movement. It's going to be 4 weeks of divine empowerment, for divine empowerment, but it's going to be so much bigger than that. We are igniting this evolution on the planet and inviting others to stand forward in their truth and for us all to ignite. And it's time. The divine feminine's here and coming back into balance. And we are here to honor that, to honor our role in that, and support our planet and support humanity at this time. I thank you so, so very much for being here today. I've loved sharing time with you. I look forward to being with you again. Have a beautiful day. Shine on, thrive, namaste, and many blessings. You've been listening to Soul Fusion Cafe with Jess Juntunen. Connect with Jess and learn more at her inspiration hub, selfascensionstudios.com, and over on Instagram at JoyLoveJess and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio, or over at Facebook at Self Ascension Studios and Soul Fusion Cafe Radio. Thank you for listening. See you next week. Namaste and many blessings.